This is the Adidas Predator 19.1. It's a great pair of football boots, but I think it could be a lot better. Here's what I would change. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a little bit of a different review than I would normally do. We're of course going to take a closer look at the brand new Predator 19.1 in the Virtuoso Pack colorway that looks absolutely fantastic, might I add. But instead of just going over all the details, I want to cover what I would change to make this boot that much better, or at least what I would personally like to see that are realistic improvements that Adidas could actually make on the next generation Predator. So if you want to learn more about these, including how they fit and feel on feet, and are also curious to know what I think needs to be improved, please stick around, watch the entire video, and if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below the normal $225 retail price. I almost ran out of breath there. By the way, if you guys do end up enjoying this video and perhaps would like to see more what I think needs to be improved style reviews, be sure to support this video with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on future content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So first things first, the Predator 19.1 comes in a regular black and white Adidas box, and inside that box, you no longer get a string bag. It's something they used to include with the .1 top end models, but for some reason they've taken that away, maybe in the last 4 or 5 months. No clue as to why that is, but in terms of first thing they can improve upon, put back the string bag. They do still include it with the Plus models though. While it has nothing to do with performance, but it's still a very important aspect of any football boots, the aesthetics, the way that the boots look in general. It's the first thing that you see, so they have to look good. And I'm of the opinion that the Predator 19.1 is one of the best looking football boots on the market right now, especially in this white and blue Virtuoso Pack colorway. That, by the way, yes, it's a white knitted upper, so they will get dirty very easily. As far as the design is concerned, I love the angular kind of ridged texturing that you have within the prime knit upper, and I also like the fact that that kind of texturing is highlighted by way of the stripes on the lateral and medial side. I think that looks quite good. The simple Adidas stripes down the side, very clean look. I think the mid-cut collar on this boot looks very good as well. And with this particular colorway, the mid layer of the prime knit is actually blue, so when it stretches out a little bit, it reveals that added touch of color, which you'll see better during the on-feet portion of the video. And you can see the sole plate is kind of a translucent white with, or clear you could call it, with the blue paint splatter, and it's not a wearable finish, by the way. So A+ in my opinion when it comes to the looks of this boot, although one weird design quirk that I noticed with this particular colorway, you'll find that it does actually have what looks to be boost, or at least the pattern of boost, through the midfoot area of the sole plate, and that is actually something that they have printed into the sole plate itself. Even though it's not a feature on the 19.1, you only get the boost on the 19 Plus, but the pattern is still there for some reason. And by the way, I did check, there is no boost inside of this football boot. So from a performance standpoint, I figured we'd start with the upper, which realistically is a far stretch from pretty much any Predator model that came before it. It now has a prime knit upper with a ridged texturing and a control skin top layer, which is basically just a polyurethane material, no added grip, no rubber striking elements, and the overall touch on the ball is padded, it's very soft, it's on the thinner side, especially for an Adidas Predator, and obviously the golden age of the Predator series, the boots had kangaroo leather uppers, or at least a natural leather material, and I don't expect them to bring that back with a next generation Predator, so I'm not suggesting they make that change at all. For the most part, I think this is probably the best knitted upper that Adidas currently makes, and it feels quite good. It's my personal favorite aspect of this boot. It's comfortable, the touch on the ball is good, it offers solid structure through the midfoot, especially with the lacing system. If you ask me, the best variation of the top end Predator is the .1 rather than the laceless boot, but if you like the laceless thing, go for the 19 Plus. However, I would really like to see the reintroduction of some kind of a rubber striking element, kind of like what we had on the Predator LZ. I'm not asking for a really bulky striking element that we used to see on older Predators, but look at these little strips you have running across the forefoot here on the Predator LZ. Would that not work perfectly in the texturing where you have those highlighted lines? It would add a ton of extra grip, and it would separate this Predator model from all the other boots that are currently out there. Nike is really making a push for the return of power boots to some extent with the Phantom Venom and its striking element, and being that the Predator is a current line of football boots Adidas has on offer, a line of boots that is really known for the introduction of rubberized striking elements. The fact that this does not have one is a bit of a shame, and if they reintroduce something like what they had on the Predator LZ, I think that would be a huge improvement. So I wouldn't really change anything about the upper, I would just add the striking elements. As for the sole plate and stud pattern, this is probably my least favorite aspect of the current generation Predator, the sole plate being labeled as a control frame, which I think really highlights the marketing that It really highlights the marketing direction that Adidas has gone in with the Predator, which I think is a bit of a mistake, because historically, the Adidas Predator is the OG power boot, and I really feel like people have always been more into scoring goals than they have been into controlling the ball really well. It made sense when the Predator line was the Ace line competing against the Magista, which was also a control boot, but this, with the next generation, I think should make its return as a power boot, but that's a completely different discussion topic for another video. As far as the sole plate itself is concerned, the reason why I don't really care for it that much is while it does look to have a very similar kind of sprint frame-esque construction that we're used to seeing from Adidas, this is actually a thicker plastic that's more solid, more durable, more rugged, which is not a bad thing. It's fitting for a power boot, but given that the upper is so streamlined and sleek and soft and very sock-like, it just doesn't seem to match. Not to mention that this adds a significant amount of weight to the boot, making it one of the heavier top-end models on the market right now, which again, doesn't not make sense given the power boot, control boot nature of this particular product, but they could have easily made it lighter, so why didn't they? And then when it comes to the actual stud pattern, it is pretty much the typical layout we're used to seeing from the Adidas brand, but the shape of the studs is kind of uninspired if you ask me, and it's the least aggressive out of all their stud patterns as well. So from a traction standpoint, while it's not bad, it's certainly not that interesting. Which is why for the next generation of Predator, Adidas should reintroduce something like they had on the Predator Adi Power, this being a sprint frame, but definitely a heavily modified variation of the sprint frame. And yes, it's a lightweight plastic similar to what we saw originally introduced on the F50 Tune-It, but it also has the power spine to add stiffness to the forefoot for striking the ball. Granted, that doesn't really do all that much, but it's a cool element that fits the whole power boot theme. I don't necessarily think that needs to make a comeback though. However, the bladed stud pattern. This is a stud pattern that used to be the go-to stud pattern for the Adidas brand that everybody really, really liked, but based on the success of the original F50 Adizero, it's something that pretty much went away entirely. If they brought it back on the next generation of Predator, I think that would attract a lot of consumers. A new stud pattern in general from the Adidas brand, not just with the Predator line, I think consumers would really appreciate, because these came out in 2011. It really was the last boot to feature this variation of a stud pattern. So basically for the better part of 8 years now, every stud pattern on every boot that Adidas has put out, aside from the Ace 15.1, has been a variation of the exact same thing. So of course I've swapped out the white laces, which look great given that the boots are mostly white, but they're gonna get dirty very quickly, and they've gone with a simple two-color colorway here, which is why I've put in some royal blue reflective SR4U replacement laces that are a perfect match for the royal blue accents you have on the boots, and I think look absolutely incredible. If you're looking to change up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, I think the Predator 19.1 fits really well. However, in comparison to past Predator models, it's a lot slimmer in profile, and I would say not narrow, but definitely tighter fitting than you might expect from something that bears the Predator name. However, given the circumstances of this having a knitted upper, the boots fit extremely well, and they're actually very comfortable. The upper is soft, it's nice and flexible. There really isn't much to break in with the lacing system versus the laceless model. I feel like the lockdown is actually really, really good. And overall, there's just not much to complain about in regards to fit, so I really wouldn't make any significant changes. As far as width is concerned, like I said, it does have a lower profile overall, so it's not a high volume fit, but in general, I think width-wise, these are going to be suitable for most people, unless you have really, really wide feet, at which point you may find these to maybe be a little bit too tight. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I'd recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, the current Predator 19.1 is actually a solid pair of football boots. They're comfortable, they fit really well, the lockdown is solid. I think it's the best knitted upper that Adidas has produced to date. It's obviously not that different from the Predator 18.1 that it replaced, but that's besides the point. In terms of improvement though, I don't think they need to change a lot. The introduction of some simple rubber striking elements I think would go a long way in terms of attracting a lot of longtime Predator fans, and some retooling with the Soleplate and stud pattern, giving us something that is perhaps a little bit more aggressive and also slightly more lightweight, I think would make for some huge improvements in the Predator lineup that a lot of people would appreciate and would also draw a lot of people back to this iconic series of football boots. But let me know what you guys think. What other changes / improvements would you like to see in the next generation Predator? Either way, if you guys enjoyed this video, please support it with a like. That helps me out tremendously. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $225 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.